Scrappy people, it's Tracy Reed here today, coming at you with a fun layout using my Harvest Moon collection. And you can see that I designed a quick little Frappuccino shape in Photoshop, then transferred it over to the silhouette and cut it out of some of my Traveler's Notebook size papers for this layout. So I just, designed it in pieces and then printed them all, or not printed, but, cut them all separately, and then I'm going to layer them together. I'm kind of trimming off the excess white border around this circle photo. There we go. So the concept is sort of like a Starbucks cup with the big circle in the middle, but instead of the siren, it's going to have that photo of Finn and I swear I did not take take Finn to Starbucks to get this photo. Promise. So I really wanted to use the Harvest Moon collection, and Finn has been begging to go get pumpkin spice, so it was the perfect opportunity. There we go. Popped that up on Pop Dots just to give it a little bit of visual interest and a little bit of height. Then I'm going to adhere this straw, which I of course had to cut in green. Then I've got a couple different layers of whipped cream. I used the lighter colors in the collection for it. I didn't really want to use white, obviously, or off-white, but I used the lighter colors, and I think it works out pretty well. Okay, so that is all put together. Now to figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of this. So I'm going to use this Ignore the Haters. If your heart says that it's pumpkin spice season, put on a cardigan, blast the AC, and treat yourself, which is exactly what we did. It was probably like 80 degrees, but Finn's heart said pumpkin spice, so that's what we did. So I'm going to adhere the lid to the cup, and then I'm going to start building the actual layout. In my Life Crafted album, the width is 5 inches, so that 4x6 card is too wide for the actual page, so I'm going to have to trim that down. But first I'm going to try and find the appropriate pattern combination here for this page. So I like the way that the wood grain sets off that orange, but it's not quite right, especially because I'm going to have to put that card down and it has those flowers at the top and the bottom. So I didn't know, or I wanted to back the card with the wood instead so that it wouldn't be too distracting. So I cut down the card to basically a 4x4, and the sentiment fit just barely perfectly. So I'm going to put the Frappuccino on the leaves, which looks a little wild, but it's going to work out well. And then I'm going to put the card, I'm going to actually back it with one of the 4x6 patterned cards instead of wasting this whole Traveler's Notebook size paper. So I'm going to put it on one of the patterned wood grain cards. It's actually a smaller size on the pattern too, so that works out better. Okay, there we go. Now I need to figure out what goes behind it. I think that plaid, even though I love it so much, is a little bit too much. This one works out a little bit better because it matches the colors on the right-hand side better, but I definitely needed a buffer between that background paper and the card itself. So I'm going to rip this paper and create another border, one that spans all the way to the edge, so it gives you that great visual divide. And now I can start embellishing. So I'm going to pull out anything that I think I might use, which is what I tend to do when I'm using entire collections, is I just pull out anything that might work on the layout and make sure that everything that isn't going to work on the layout I just put back so that I don't have to sort through everything the whole time. Now I'm just going to start framing all of these elements here. I want you to still be able to see the gist of the Frappuccino, obviously, but I do want to embellish a little bit further than just the cut file. So I'm going to wrap a lot of embellishments around the cup itself. And I kind of want visually both sides to go sort of top to bottom. I really, really wanted to use this wreath, but I couldn't make it work on this page. But I want the embellishments to go visually top to bottom because that Frappuccino is such a strong vertical element. I want to make sure that I play off of that instead of trying to work against it. So that's kind of my process here as I start adding embellishments, is just working my way up and down the page. Alright, so I've made enough of a decision to start sticking things down. So I'm going to create a little cluster up here of that floral plus the tab. Fall is in the air seemed like an appropriate sentiment, even though it was sort of hot. Although fall is definitely in the air now, a week later, or almost a week later. It was only 50-something degrees this morning, which was lovely. I want to have a matching floral cluster on the other side. I love these earth tone, that was the word I was looking for, earth tone rainbows that are in this collection. I think they're such a fun twist on a sort of end of summer fall collection rather than the typical pastel or bright color rainbows that you see in collections. The rainbows in this collection are all deep colors and earth tones, and it's such a fun way to embellish for fall. So of course I have to have a mirroring floral cluster down at the bottom here. And I want to have a little note at the bottom about Finn wanting pumpkin spice. This page doesn't need too much journaling, so just that little label will work perfectly. Total fave. I wanted to bring in a little bit more green down here at the bottom for that green straw. And this isn't feeling quite complete, so I'm still trying to build a cluster down there at the bottom of the left-hand side, but I just keep bringing that wreath in and it's just not working out. I'm gonna have to find something else. I want to include these sunglasses just for fun. All right, that cluster is worked all the way top to bottom. That page is done. I need to figure out this page or this side. So I decided to go with some of the fall leaves in the collection. The stickers in this collection are a little bit on the smaller side compared to what I normally include, and it actually works out perfectly, which is why I included them on the smaller side. They frame these smaller pages a lot better. Cute. I did initially create the cluster, but then I'm going to pull this leaf down like it's falling instead, because once I got that pine cone on there, it didn't seem to work out correctly for the cluster. I couldn't make it look right. So instead I'm going to separate the leaves and add another leaf at the top, like the leaves are falling down through the page because it's fall and the leaves fall, and that's why we call it fall. But yeah, that is it for this page, I think. If you enjoyed it, oh yes! I always got to add the enamel dots in. But if you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you. If you don't already, you can follow me over on Instagram. I'm at Traci M. Reed. I'd love to see you over there as well. You can pick up the Harvest Moon collection at my shop at tracireed.com. There is a link in the description box below. And after I get on the rest of these enamel dots, we are all done. I will see you next time. All right, thank you.